history to life. His objectives are to bring energy in such a way to draw you in, to make you feel like you are part of the speech. The speech is 7 to 9 minutes. Please help us welcome Mr. Christian Minson in his speech, A Queen is Born, The Miracle of Roses.
It was a cold December morning, much like today, only the year was 1531. In a region just outside of what is now Mexico City, the peasant Juan Diego stepped out of his modest adobe hut and began the trek many miles to church, a journey he made faithfully and regularly every Saturday and Sunday. As he trod along the barren path, noticing the dead and dormant foliage of winter, a cold blast of air burst into his face, causing him to clutch his cloak tighter to him. A cloak called a tilma, one made of coarse cactus fiber, because cotton was reserved for the elite. As he trod this path that he'd done many times before, he noticed there was something different about today. The air seemed electric. When he breathed it in, it tingled in his lungs. He heard birds chirping at a nearby hill. They seemed to be calling his name. Juan Diego! Juan Diego! Juan Diego! Curious, he started up the hill. As he neared the top, he saw a beautiful, luminous gold light. Mesmerized, he walked towards that light. And when he got right in front of it, emerging from it was a beautiful young woman, about 14 years of age, native in her appearance and her dress. She wore a hood of deep turquoise, lined in silver and gold, bedecked with stars. She spoke directly to him in a voice that was angelic. Juan Diego, I have chosen you as my messenger. Go to the Bishop of Mexico and tell him I desire a shrine to be built here in my name, a place where I may offer my love and solace, my compassion and hope to those masses who are now weary with troubles and trials. They can come here and lay down their miseries and receive my blessing and benediction. I ask you this as the mother of all. As the apparition dissolved and vanished, Juan Diego stood there, awestruck. And then a rush of energy moved from his feet all the way to his head, so that he ran down the hill as fast as he could, and all the way down, miles and miles to the church, not stopping to take a breath until he swung open the door. The bishop, who was sitting behind a desk in his cotton finery, writing words for his sermon that day, looked up startled and said indignantly, "Peasant man, don't you know how to knock? Why do you enter this sanctuary so obtrusively?" Juan Diego fumbled and said, I'm sorry, my bishop, but I just witnessed the most miraculous thing. Our Lady, the Mother of our Lord, has come to me and asked us to build a shrine in her name. The bishop looked down his nose at Juan Diego and said scoffingly, Our Lady, the Mother of our Lord, came to you, a lowly peasant. Doesn't it stand to reason that I, as the representative of the church in this region, would be the logical choice for her to come for such a task? Be gone with you with your silly stories. You waste my time. Don't come back unless you've got something substantial to show me. Juan Diego was dumbfounded. In a daze, he walked home, not knowing what to think or do. When he finally arrived at his adobe hut, he fell to his knees and began to cry his heart out to the lady. Please, release me from this burden. Give this to somebody else more worthy of a stature that can convince the bishop. The lady appeared to Juan Diego again and said, Juan Diego, do not worry. Go tomorrow to the hill and collect the flowers that grow there. We will give the bishop the sign he needs to believe." Well, Juan Diego did not sleep that night. He tossed and turned. He wanted no part of this mission. When he woke up in the morning, he still felt the same. And so as he walked to the church, he decided to try to skirt around the hill and avoid the lady altogether. However, in her glowing light, she intercepted him and said, "Juan Diego, do as I have requested. Go and gather the flowers at the top of the hill." Reluctantly, he went up to the hill, and to his astonishment, when he got to the top, amidst the barren landscape of winter, there in full bloom were many bushes of roses, red, full blossomed, and interestingly enough, of the variety only found in the region of Castile, Spain, from where Bishop had originated before coming to Mexico. So Juan did as directed. He cut the flowers and gathered them up, and the lady helped arrange them in his cloak, and then instructed him thus: "Juan Diego, keep your cloak closed for everyone save the bishop. When you see him, you may open it, and he will believe your story." Still reluctant, he shuffled off to church slowly, and this time when he got to the door, he opened it very quietly and just stood there waiting for the bishop to acknowledge him. Again, he was sitting at his desk writing when he looked up many minutes later and saw Juan Diego in the doorway. He said, "You again? What do you want?" Juan Diego stepped through the threshold, and bowing his head, he opened his cloak wide, and out poured roses upon roses, the bright red color, the variety that the bishop recognized coming from his hometown. He fell to his knees in awe, and looking up at Juan Diego, still holding his cloak open wide, he saw, impressed upon the cloth, the image of the woman, now known as Our Lady of Guadalupe. Recognizing that he had witnessed a miracle of roses on this historic day, December 12th, 1531, the bishop ordered the shrine to be built and asked that Juan Diego oversee it and care for the pilgrims coming in. And so he did for the duration of his life, welcoming in those very first pilgrims who laid down their burdens at the feet of Our Lady and received her blessings and benediction. They then returned to their lands and spread the word to the now millions of faithful followers who worship the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe as a symbol of her undying promise to take our miseries, our woes, our sorrows, and to give her love and compassion unremittingly. The promise she made in her miracle of roses.